Did you know at this very moment, someone is on Amazon and Etsy actively looking for a quality coloring and activity book to add to their shopping cart? The only question is, will it be yours? Since you're listening to this podcast, hence the name of the show, it's pretty safe to assume that you have a keen interest in creating and selling your first or next coloring book. And it's for that reason I want to assure you you're in the right place. And I'd like to help you make it a reality by inviting you to check out the Coloring Book Creator Mentor Program, the first of its kind complete A to Z course that features live weekly coaching, resources, templates, and an extremely supportive online community, all designed to assure that you create a standout in-demand coloring book that you'll actually enjoy creating, promoting, and selling. Imagine the feeling of knowing somewhere in the world someone is adding your beautiful new book to their shopping cart, investing in a piece of your creativity. Enrollment is open and you can get started by going to coloringbookcreatorcourse.com. That's coloringbookcreatorcourse.com. Welcome to the special edition of the Coloring Book Creator Podcast. Over the next 10 episodes, I'm going to walk you through a 10-step roadmap I've created called Validate Your First or Next Coloring Book Idea Before You Make It. Alrighty, so we are back with step number 8. Step number 8 is on putting together a sampler, which is basically a PDF document that will have anywhere from 1 to 5 pages that is going to be potentially in the final book that you are working on creating. Now, in episode number 6 or step number 6, I talked about creating this interest post that you would put out there to see in your current audience or network who's interested in what you have to offer. And one of the action steps was to ask people to comment on that post and say if they were interested by using a word like yes, or whatever you choose it to be. I just use yes in that example. Now, when that person says yes, that they do want to get your sampler, it's like a 3 to 4, maybe up to 5-page PDF document. When they say yes, that they want that, you will then deliver that to them in this document. Now, one of the primary ways that we get someone's contact information is to offer something of value in exchange. In the online world, this is commonly known as a lead magnet or a freebie. Sometimes it's called a freebie, but typically it's called a lead magnet. The lead magnet is this document that I'm talking about. It's a PDF that I'm offering to the person who raised their hand. I'm offering them that in exchange for their contact information, just exactly like what I've done throughout this entire series. From episode number 1 of this series, I have said repeatedly about a prep guide that I've created that you can download. It's got fill in the blank form. You can fill out the answers to the questions I've been asking you throughout this series. And I repeatedly said, go to mycoloringbookidea.com to fill out your name and email address to be sent this document. This is exactly in action of what I'm talking about. Although what I will talk about in step number 9 is not going to be as automated as what I'm asking you to do. I do have an alternative for that, but I'll talk about that again in episode number 9. What you're going to do is you're going to basically take some ideas for pages that could end up in the final book. It may not, it just depends. The main goal is that you want to give the person who said yes, in this case, something in exchange for them giving you their contact information. Again, this type of lead magnet, and I will say this type of lead magnet, in other words, giving someone a few coloring pages or a journal page or whatever you're going to give them, is actually it's a perfectly tailored lead magnet. In other words, I gave you a prep guide / workbook. In this context, you'd be giving away free coloring pages. And so it makes it a perfect lead magnet. Obviously, it would make sense to get pages from a book that they may potentially buy. So what you would do is you would, again, choose how many pages you're going to give them. It could be 1, it could be 2, up to 5. I wouldn't do any more than 5. And what you're going to do is when anyone asks you, or they say that, yes, I want to get this sampler from you, that this document is created and that you can give them a link to it that they can go download it. So now the question here in step number 8 is, how do you put this together? Now, the assembly of the document itself can be done in Canva, and Canva is a tool that I use in all of my training in one form or another. And something that I haven't talked about, but I will talk about a little bit in this episode and definitely more in episodes 9 and 10. But there is essentially a Canva document template that will let you import these pages in. But first, we have to talk about where do you get the pages that you put inside the document. Now, there are a variety of resources that you can get. Typically, you can use a stock content service like a Creative Fabrica. They have a library of coloring pages that you could use as samples. They also have a tool, an AI tool they just released not too long ago called Spark, which will let you create your own sort of custom coloring pages based on text prompts. I'm going to be talking a lot more about this in the challenges coming up, but I'm just basically introducing you to the resources. If you also downloaded the prep guide, I have a resources page with several links to some of these resources in that document. So you can click on those and go kind of check these things out before the workshop series starts. Well, I'll do some demonstrations about this. There's another tool called Midjourney, which is also an alternative artificial intelligence generator that can also help you create coloring pages. There are other options. If you don't want to go with the stock library, or you don't want to try to do the AI thing right now, although once you get some familiarization with that, it'll be something fun to test. Another option that you can do, and I've suggested that my members and students do this, is hire independent artists on a site like Fiverr. I have hired artists on Fiverr for as little as $5 a page. I give them inspiration for what I want. They then go and do a line drawing for me and deliver me back a black and white page that I can then distribute. So that's another option for you. This is a good way to also test out the artist that you might get to actually create the final book for you. So that's another good way to audition people that you might want to use for the bigger project, and also get some samples that you can start giving away to grow your email list. Of course, if you are an artist yourself or have drawing ability, obviously you would make the pages yourself if that's something that you choose to do. So again, you have a plethora of options. You can go to a stock library, sort of content library service like Creative Fabrica, or you can use their AI tool, Spark, or you can use Midjourney, which is another alternative AI generator tool that can make coloring pages for you, or you can hire an independent artist on Fiverr for like $5 a page, do that. Or if you're an artist and you can draw, you can do it yourself. So the goal is that you're going to give them, the person who raised their hand, you're going to give them these pages in exchange for their name and email address. And that's going to then help you to then develop your, what I call early adopters email list. We're going to go into a lot more depth with this inside of my program. But what I want to let you know right now is that this is the way you start the process of building an email list if you don't have one already. Now, as I mentioned earlier, this formula and method that I'm doing is a 3-step process. The first that you'll need to do is to call out interested adopters by creating the I'm Thinking About post, which I talked about in episode 6. You're going to do that first. Then what you're going to do, so if you need a refresher, go back and listen to step 6. Then the second step of the process is going to be to assemble this document in Canva. So you're going to do one of these resources that I mentioned, either draw them yourself or hire someone on Fiverr, or go to Creative Fabrica and see if you can find some sample pages there, and or use one of the AI tools like Spark or Midjourney to then create your pages that way. Once you get those done, those 2 to 3 pages done, you're going to assemble this document. And again, I recommend a tool like Canva, but you can also do it in Word docs as well. But I recommend Canva personally. So what you're going to do is you're going to give the person those pages, And then you're going to put a call to action in there, what I call a call to action page, or it can be a call to action button. What this is a link to where they can get more information from you. So you're going to assemble this little sampler, 2 or 3, 4, 5 page document. You're going to upload it to a service like Google Drive, or if you use Dropbox, you can do Dropbox, but I recommend storing it somewhere. Then when someone says, I want to get this document, what we're going to cover in step number 9 is we're going to put a form between that document. We're going to put a Google form that we're going to give the person to get this document. And they're going to give us their contact information. And once we have their name and email address, then we're going to send them this document. All righty. So I'm going to repeat that one more time. We're going to create this document. We're going to have our 3 to 4 or 5 pages in there, coloring pages and what have you. We're going to put a call to action in that document. That call to action could be to go join your Facebook group, or follow you on Instagram, or follow you on TikTok, or follow you on Pinterest. We're going to put just a simple link inside of that. So that way you're, again, deepening the relationship. And then in step number 9, coming up next, we're going to launch the pre-publication email list. And that's going to be using a Google form, which is free. And that form is what you're going to send the people who said yes. In step number 6, we're going to send them a link to that form. And in that form, when they fill out their name and email address, we're going to collect that information. And from that information, we're going to send them the link to go download our sampler pages. So that's how you create a lead magnet, which is step number 8, which we're going over right now. And then step number 9 is how you collect the information so you can start growing your early adopter interest list. If you have any questions about this, bring them to the live challenge, and I will answer any additional questions that you might have around that. But this is the basic foundation of how to get a lead magnet created and start creating your email list. So the way we're going to collect the data is going to be in step number 9. So I'm going to stop here. We'll pick it up on step number 9, and I'll go into the creation of that form and what we'll use in order to be able to collect the information that we need so that we can grow our email list and then distribute our freebie. So I'll see you in the next step.